Narayanam namaskrityam naranchaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jaya mudiraye shrunvatam swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridyantasto hi abhadrani vidhanoti shruvasatam nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati nashtuki. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to glorify three great Vaishnavas who are the really saints, great Chata Goswamis. They are Goswamis. So two Goswamis disappearance day is today. Bhatta Raghunath Bhatta Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami. Also disappearance day of Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, who is the writer of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the postgraduate study for in the Vedic literature. Actually, Srila Prabhupada used to say the Bhagavad Gita is the basic study, like college level. The postgraduate study is the master's degree is Bhagavatam and above Bhagavatam, because if all granthas go away, like there is flood or something, only Bhagavatam left, that will be great. But even Bhagavatam goes, Chaitanya Charitamrita has all the shlokas, most of the important shlokas in Chaitanya Charitamrita itself, So Chaitanya Charitamrita is whole book actually. If we have only that book, we can study all the things. So we will actually, these three great saints, it's very hard to describe their glories, because it's just like showing a small lamp in front of the sun, What the small lamp, will not show anything, in front of the sun. So their glories are so great. But we will try to just glorify whatever to our capacity and what is given in the books and shastras, and see, we'll learn from their life actually. That is the main aim, that what we should learn from those Acharyas actually. So I will go in the krama of like Raghunath Goswami first, because he was the guru of Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. So we will have the guru first and then his disciple, and then at the end we will have Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. So we will describe little about all three, because time is not too much, so I will just go fast about little bit about their life, and also what are the main incidences, like how they associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and how they are connected with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and what we can learn from that. So Raghunath Das Goswami was born in 1495, and he was the first Goswami to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Actually, if you see the shloka, Shri Rup, Shri Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha, Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha. So his name is at the last, but he was the first one to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Raghunath Das Goswami was born in Krishnapur. So see how nice name was the town, even the town where he was born. And it is in West Bengal. And he belonged to very rich, super rich family actually. Like millionaire, even at that time, they were millionaires. So, and at that time, value of the money was much more, even in couple rupees, you can buy a lot, now the rupee has no value actually, but at that time, it has lots of value, and they were really making lots and lots, many lakhs of rupees every month. And Raghunath Das Goswami's Acharya, like a teacher, instructor in his boyhood, was Balram Acharya. He was great devotee, very scholar and very advanced devotee of Lord Krishna. And mercifully, he introduced Raghunath Goswami to Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur, we all know, he is Namacharya. So he instructed, and Raghunath Goswami actually got all the instructions, and also importance of Harinam. That what is the importance of Harinam. So he was attracted to Harinam right from the childhood. And when Raghunath Goswami was 15-year-old, actually, he heard that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming to Shantipur. And so, and after taking sannyas, he is coming first time to Shantipur. So he actually has desire to see and meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So His father will not give permission. He knew his father, mother, no family member will give permission. So he just actually, despite the resistance, he still went there and went away from home, and he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there. When he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, actually, the beauty of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the charming personality of Mahaprabhu, and also devotion of Mahaprabhu, and his teachings, his heart was melted, actually, completely melted. He said that this is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He thought in his heart, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also aware about the feelings of Raghunath Goswami. And he knew, Raghunath Goswami knew that he will not leave me once he came here now, but he wanted him to go back and make his parents happy also. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed him that you go home now and don't be over enthusiastic. Because in our bhakti, like Ishopanishad, we read that we have to be very enthusiastic actually in bhakti. But he said, don't be over enthusiastic. Control yourself. Keep the love of Krishna within your own heart. Don't expose it. Don't express it outside. Because sometimes it's better, like if the family members are not favorable to bhakti, sometimes Guru instructs that actually you just do your bhakti. Like sometimes some Mataji's husband is not favorable to Krishna bhakti. Mataji is very sincere. So at that time it's better for her, that she wake up little early, and chant alone, and not express her bhakti in front of everybody, because they will be more opposing to her in giving her hard time. So same way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Raghunath Das Goswami that don't express to outside and don't advertise it. And he also told him that very soon the time will come, then Krishna will call you. And he will make the way out for you. He will make all the arrangements for you to come to me. And don't allow any external show. So he said, don't show your bhakti to anybody. Keep it within your heart and continue your bhakti like that way. So sometimes that's also better if the family is opposed to our bhakti. So Raghunath Das Goswami followed the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He returned home, and his father, who was super rich, and his uncle, they both thought that Raghunath is like not attracted. He's so much detached to his material life. So they thought that the best way for him to get married to a very, very beautiful girl, super beautiful. So that way, she can bind him. That's what they thought, But Raghunath Goswami was completely detached. So even after marriage, he even didn't look his wife, He had no interest whatsoever in the material life. And he started living, not with his wife, outer skirt of his house, separate room and a separate place, he started. And so when father and mother saw that even his beautiful wife cannot bind him, then he thought that this will get detached, then he will run away from the house. So his parents actually thought that what to do with this boy now. So they hired 10 guards to watch him so he doesn't run away from the house. And so they thought that condition is very, very grave, and he should be guarded all the time, 24/7. So later on, somehow or the other, Raghunath Das Goswami met Nityananda Prabhu in the Panihati. Then Nityananda Prabhu said that, give the fish to my disciples. This is your punishment. And I have so many followers with me, and you are son of a rich man, so you should give a big fish to all of them. So this way, the Dadi Chuda festival Mahotsav started from that time. It was started by Raghunath Das Goswami. And after giving the Dadi Chuda fish to everyone, all the followers of Nityananda Prabhu was very satisfied actually, and they all blessed him. They blessed him by saying that very soon the bright day will come in your life, and so don't worry. And Nityananda Prabhu told all his followers that, see, this boy is so bright, very great devotee. He has immense wealth, still he is so detached. So we should learn how one can get detached in spite of having so much wealth, and he blessed him that Krishna's grace will come down very soon in his heart, and do not care about anything of this world actually, just do your bhakti. So one day, when Raghunath Das Goswami was living in the house, actually, the family guru, Yadundanan Acharya, he came in the house, and early in the morning, it was not even daytime yet. So he suddenly arrived in the house. Actually, he wanted to find out a Brahmana because he was going out for 2-3 days to take care of his deity. So he came there, and he met Raghunath there, and and then he was talking to Raghunath, and they went out of the house. So Raghunath went house without anything, with the Acharya. So when he was going out with the family guru, the guards, thought that he's going with the guru, so they didn't interfere in their talking, So he just went with the guru, and the guru went out of the house quite far away. And later on, guru said, okay, I'm going with my business now, wherever I was going. And you get a Brahman, and make sure my deities are well worshipped, for 2-3 days. So when he was out of the house, so far away from house, Raghunath Das Goswami thought this is the best time now for me to run away from the house. So, but he said that if I go to Puri now to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then guards will catch me in the way. So he thought that let me go other way. So he went opposite way actually, to the Puri. So nobody can catch him. And then he stayed in the cow shed, there was a house of the cowherd man. He just took little milk from him, and he stayed there. And next day he started to the Puri. So when this news went actually in the house that Raghunath is nowhere, so then all the guards were gone. He said he went with the guru, so they went to guru's house, and he was not there. They sent some men to the Puri. He was not in Puri. So they thought, he's disappeared somewhere. So they keep trying, but they said it's very hard to get. And so Raghunath Das Goswami actually walked for 12 days in a row. Whole day he was walking. And out of those 12 days, he got food only for 3 days. Rest of the time, he stayed hungry actually, because he has divine love. And once we have divine love, Raghunath Das Goswami is not a simple person. He is one of the Manjari from the Golok Vrindavan. So his body is eternal, so they don't feel hungry like us, like yesterday was Ekadashi, so I'm feeling the hunger right now. So this is our condition, in the material body, but he has the divine body actually. So he could stay without eating. And when he went to Puri, he heard that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Gambhira at that time, and in the house of Kashi Mishra. So he went there and he fell flat on the ground, gave obeisance to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Mukundatta was with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he announced that Raghunath is here. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, very good. And he instructed Mukundatta that you take care of this boy. He came from great distance and with great trouble, and walking too much, so give him nice food, from Jagannath Prasadam for a few days, and then he will arrange himself, So Raghunath Das Goswami actually took Prasadam for a few days, and then he stopped taking Jagannath Prasadam. Then he wanted to be more and more humble, so he will beg in front of Jagannath temple from 2-3 people, not from many people, are not collecting too much Lakshmi, too much food, because he was not worried about what I'm going to eat tomorrow or day after tomorrow or this evening, all those people were doing like this, not like this, like the beggars now, what they do, they collect so much money nowadays. When I was in Indore, actually, at that time, one beggar died, I heard in newspaper, and he had 1 lakh rupee in 70s. We can imagine, how much money they beg, and collect, even in begging. But Raghunath Das Goswami was not one of that kind of beggar, he will just collect little bit and try to do more and more devotional service to the Lord. Later on, because his parents knew that Raghunath is not going to come back now. He's so much detached. Even the beautiful wife could not hold him, so they didn't bother him anymore. But they still sent some money that he should not starve, and he sent one Brahmana, told him that you cook some food and give it to him, and also rent a house. So the Brahmana and the servants rent a house, and Raghunath, but still Raghunath was not living there in the house. But then he thought that Brahman is here, house is here, so let me invite Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Raghunath's house, and Brahman was cooking nice prasadam, and just to make make happy, Raghunath Das Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will come to his house and take prasadam. So it continued for 2 months. But later on, Raghunath Das Goswami thought that this gives me fame. And fame gives actually the false pride. When one person anybody is famous, it gives false, I'm a big man. So then it reduces our bhakti. So actually we should stay away from the fame. So he stopped actually even like inviting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his house. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually told Swarup Damodar that you take charge of Raghunath Das Goswami. So Swarup Damodar, that way, he doesn't go for small things to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Swarup Damodar was taking care. Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai, these were the two men, left hand and right hand of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were always with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, taking care of all his needs, So Swarup Damodar Goswami actually gave initiation to Raghunath Das Goswami. And as we know, Swarup Damodar was very great scholar and very great devotee. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that I request Swarup Damodar to take charge of Raghunath, and whatever is necessary in his devotional life, Swarup Damodar will provide it. So even though it was a great honor that the person like Swarup Damodar is taking care of Raghunath Goswami, still Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will rarely, he was asking every question to Swarup Damodar and not going to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly. And he considered himself unfit, completely unfit to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he served Swarup Damodar very intensely with great devotion and great love. And he had the bhav of dasanu, dasanu das, that kind of bhav. So we should all have that kind of bhav. But unluckily, unfortunately, what we say, nowadays, everybody wants to be boss on boss. So in any company, like one employee went to the boss and he said, what is your goal? And he said that I want to be your boss. So this is the tendency of the people, nowadays. But he actually showed how a dasana das actually means and what should be the mood of a pure devotee. So one day, Raghunath Goswami actually wanted to ask a question to Mahaprabhu. So he went to Mahaprabhu and he told that although Swarup Damodar is taking care of me very well, but I want to ask you one question. So to make him happy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that ask the question. So he said that what is the best thing for me to do now? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually gave very, very nice instruction for all of us, not just for Raghunath Goswami. He said, Gramya katha na sunibe, Gramya varta na kahibe, bhalana kahibe, ar bhalana paribe, amani manada hanya, Krishna nama sada labe, vraje Radha Krishna seva manase karibe. So he said that don't indulge in the worldly talks, because worldly talks are very bad. They take us away from our bhakti. Like prajalpa. We all do sometime, but prajalpa should be very much just for 1 minute or 2 minutes, not all the time prajalpa. And with the devotees always talking Krishna bhakti, we can say some outsider come, how are you? But what that mean actually doesn't mean anything. Everybody says I'm fine. So same answer. So there is nothing to do like this, So worldly talks, and do not hear worldly talks, and do not indulge in talking worldly. And try your best to avoid mundane matters. Any mundane material matters we should try to avoid. and don't eat delicious food, but take whatever ordinary food may come down by its own accord. Whatever Krishna gives us, we should just accept that. And also don't dress luxuriously, live very simply. Always take the name of Krishna with the attitude of giving respect to others, like what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said in Sishtastakam. So we should give respect to everyone, but never expect any respect for ourselves. Tranadapi sunichaina taro rivo savishnam amani namani denam kirtaniya sadahari. Be humble and never aspire respect from others. In this way, try to take name of Krishna constantly and try to serve Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. So even though, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said us 5 things, like 5 main anga of the bhakti, all part of bhakti, like chanting Krishna's name, Nam Sankirtan, and reading Bhagavatam, and deity seva, and living in Vrindavan, those kind of things, So Srila Prabhupada actually started the morning program. By morning program, we can have all those 5 things continuously, without even try. We can chant, sing, we can hear Bhagavatam. So everything is done, and all the time deity seva is here, Murti Puja. So everything is like attending morning program, we can achieve benefit of all those things. Also like living in Dham, but Srila Prabhupada said, all Krishna's temple actually is the embassy of Golok Vrindavan actually. So when we go associate with the devotees, we can get association of devotees in the temple. So everything is actually perfect, attending all morning programs. So Mahaprabhu told Raghunath that this is essence of all the advices actually. And he told again that you are in hand of Raghunath Das Goswami and he will take care of you. So don't worry about anything. Just chant Krishna's name all the time. So actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appreciated the renunciation and devotion of Raghunath Das Goswami. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so happy with him, so he gave his personal Shila and also Shila from Govardhan Hill and string of Gunjamala. So these are the great gift, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was using those things personally for last 3 years, So he was worshipping that Shila, Govardhan Shila, and so those things are very valuable. And Raghunath Das Goswami was so lucky to get those things. So actually by going through the years and years of devotion austerity, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting all 22 hours out of 24 hours. So we can imagine, how much he was chanting whole day. And offering obeisances. When he got famous in the area, that great sant is living among us. So 2,000, 3,000 people will come every day to do his darshan, see him do the darshan. So he was offering actually obeisances to all those guests who are coming to see him, Actually, they were coming to offer obeisance to him, but he was offering obeisance to them. And 1,000 times he was offering obeisances to the deities. So these are 3,000 times obeisances every day. So we can imagine, now we say, oh, my back is hurting, I cannot offer obeisances, which sometimes just do pranam like that, but we can imagine, how Raghunath Das Goswami, we should learn actually how we should be humble and offer obeisances to all the devotees and the deities, how many times we should. So, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later on, actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left this world and went to Golok Vrindavan. After that, after 2-3 years after that, Swarup Damodar Goswami also left this world and went to Golok. So then he was following Raghunath Das Goswami, thought that let me go to Vrindavan and help Rup and Sanatan Goswamis, because that was the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that you go to Vrindavan and help Rup Raghunath and follow their instructions and think them as your own guru. And so he was serving them very, very nicely in Vrindavan. And Raghunath Das Goswami actually helped in the many ways to Rup and Sanatan both, these Goswamis. And several hours he will sit at Radha Kund, actually, Radha Kund, and completely absorbed in meditation of divine couple Radha and Krishna. And he will have the Chaitanya Leela every single day, 2 hours at Radha Kund. For many, many years, he continued that. And many people will come and hear Chaitanya Leela there at Radha Kund from Raghunath Das Goswami. One time, Sri Sanatan Goswami actually witnessed that Raghunath Goswami was in deep meditation, and Lord Krishna and the two tigers were coming to drink water, and he was worried. Then Krishna was worried, actually, Lord Krishna was worried that he will be eaten by, my great devotee will be eaten by the tigers. So Krishna came himself to protect, and he make sure, that tigers go away and not bothering the Raghunath Das Goswami. At other instances, Sanatana Goswami actually witnessed that Radharani herself came. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and very hot summer. He was still chanting, sitting there in the sun. So Radharani came and he covered the head of Raghunath Goswami by her own sari, and she was actually staying there, and when he was in meditation. So we can imagine that how dear he was to Radha and Krishna both. And when Sanatana Goswami saw this, then he chastised actually Raghunath Das Goswami. He said that you are taking service of your masters, actually Radha and Krishna. So what kind of devotee you are? You should make a small hut and do all your chanting and meditation there, so you are not bothered. So that way, actually, Raghunath Goswami then accepted the advice, and then he made a small kutir. And since at that time, the bhajan kutir started, all the Acharyas, made bhajan kutir and do the bhajan there, so they don't bother the Lord himself, because Krishna actually protects his real devotees all the time. He takes care of all their needs. But we should have that kind of faith. Then Krishna will definitely do it. So since at that time, these bhajan kutirs, we can see bhajan kutir of this Goswami, this Goswami, this Goswami in Vrindavan. So all the bhajan kutirs are there. And Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami lived long life actually, and he met Sri Nivas Acharya and Janava Mataji also, and he helped them, and when they visited the Radha Kund. So actually, if we see in Braj Leela in Golok Vrindavan, the real identity of Raghunath Goswami is he is the Ras Manjari. Manjaris are the servants of Radharani, which help Radharani in each aspect, and they are very dear to Radharani. And some people say that he was Bhanumati Manjari also. So nonetheless, he was one of those famous Manjaris, and this who all the time serve Radharani. So now we will read little bit description of Krishnadas Kaviraj. Krishnadas Kaviraj was the disciple of Raghunath Das Goswami, and actually Raghunath Das Goswami was the compiler of Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the great granth for all of us. And but he was so humble, Raghunath Das Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, that he wrote that because the other book, the Chaitanya Bhagavat was written before him, so he didn't wanted to offend Chaitanya Bhagavat, and the writer of Chaitanya Bhagavat. So he said that I'm just writing the small book, whichever is because when Chaitanya Bhagavat written, the index was very big, but not everything was given in detail. So whatever was not in detail, he wrote in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He said that the real Bhagavat, real Chaitanya Charitamrita is the Chaitanya Bhagavat actually, and this is just additional thing, So that's way it shows his humbleness actually. So Krishnadas Kaviraj actually is very hard to. There is nothing written about his father, mother, birth. Later on, the Gaudiya Sampradaya, actually Gaudiya Vaishnava, tried to find out something, and that what is his date of birth, where he was born, and all those things. So the writer of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj, is a direct disciple of of Raghunath Das Goswami, and also from Rup Goswami, he was taking instructions from Goswami also. And his Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's disciple was Narottam Das Goswami, and this whole parampara starts from there actually. So from Narottam Das Thakur's disciple was Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, then Jagannath Das Babaji, and then Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, then Sri Prabhupada, and then all the Acharya Vranda. Now, so this is all in parampara, and the birth date for the Krishnadas Kaviraj is 1496, and in the month of Ashwini. And his father's name is also given here somewhere. Okay, here. He was born in the family of physicians. That's what they say, Kaviraj. But some people say Kaviraj was given the title by Jiva Goswami, because Jiva Goswami saw his literary work, how nicely he composed the verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he gave him the title of Kaviraj. And some people say that because Kaviraj, like olden time, the Ayurvedic doctors, they were known as Kaviraj. So that's the way the name was Kaviraj. But anyway, his father, he was born in Jammatpur, Vidyanatha district in the West Bengal. His father was Bhagirath and mother was Sunanda. Also, he had younger brother. His name was Shyamdas. But Shyamdas actually was devotee. He will respect Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but not respect Nityananda. So Nityanandaji he will not respect, So one time in his house, one of the servant of Nityananda came, and his name was Meenketan Ramdas. So when Meenketan Ramdas came, he was great devotee, and he did lot of kirtan and everything in the town, and every katha, Krishna katha. So everybody was so happy. But there was one Brahmana, and he also didn't like the Nityananda Prabhu, so he was his servant, so he didn't pay respect to him. So then Meenketan Ramdas got angry, he said that he's not respecting. So he said that, see, this is the second Romaharshan. Like Romaharshan was not respecting Balram ji, and when Balram ji came, and then Balram ji with a small straw, he just killed him, that way. So he said this is another Romaharshan. So also when Krishnadas, when his brother actually also was not, so Meenketan Ramdas was not very happy with his brother. So he actually explained his brother that you should either respect both, because both are same, Nityananda Prabhu, because he's the Adi Guru actually, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are the same, like Balram and Krishna. So you should respect both. Otherwise, be atheist, that's a better, because this gives lot of the impious activities, if you don't accept the Nityananda Prabhu or Balramji, So this should be done. So he wrote one other book known as at Manas Pavan Ghat, and that's Govinda Lilamrit. Actually, Govinda Lilamrit book is so nice, very nicely composed. So it will actually show how, like, grammatically he was Krishnadas Kaviraj accurate, and he wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita when he was old, about 90-year-old. That's why we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita he said that I'm so old, I may not complete. So many of the things from the Antya Lila, he put in the Madhya Lila, because he was not sure he will complete the Chaitanya Charitamrita. But somehow or the other, by Krishna's grace and the grace of all the Acharyas, he could complete Chaitanya Charitamrita for all of us. So we should take full advantage of Chaitanya Charitamrita and read it every day a little bit. And so at that time in Vrindavan, actually, when Krishnadas Kaviraj was in Vrindavan, they will gather at the temple, Govindaji temple in Vrindavan, and here Haridas Pandit, he will read Chaitanya Bhagavatam. So he was hearing Chaitanya Bhagavatam every day. And Lord Gaurangas, many people were interested in the later pastimes of Lord, like Antelila, those when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be really immersed in bhakti, in separation, Vipralamba mood, and he was like seeing the small hill, he will think it's Gordon Mountain, he will see little pond of water, he will see this Yamuna ji, and he will jump in the sea, like that. So those leelas were not written in detail in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. So he will give class on those leelas, all the time talk about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's the way all the devotees there in Vrindavan requested Krishnadas Kaviraj to write some book, about those leelas which are not given in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. So he didn't wanted to write anything, but he asked, because everybody requested him, so he took the permission. He went to Madan Mohan temple and he offered his obeisances. At that time particularly, the garland fell on the floor, and the Pandit, actually the Pujari, he put that garland on the neck of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So Krishnadas Goswami took it as permission from Lord Madan Mohan, that he is giving permission. So he was writing every day, and he wrote so authentic biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His biography is based on his gurus. Swarup Damodar Prabhu used to write, Samudra Goswami, he used to write the Kacha. Kacha is the like small handwritten notes, and he remember, Raghunath Goswami remembered all those notes, and he told everything to Krishnadas Kaviraj, and Krishnadas Kaviraj actually wrote. So he wrote everything what Raghunath Das Goswami told him. So it's not like some imagination or anything. It's a real incidences what were given in the Swarup Damodar's Kacha, actually, the rough notes. So every line he wrote with full humility and enthusiasm and devotion to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Krishnadas had a wonderful power of speaking without offending anybody. He never offended anybody. We can read whole Bhagavatam and will not see any single sentence which is offending anyone. So even that's why even his opponents would like him, So Krishnadas Kaviraj actually is the humbler than the blade of grass and more tolerant than a tree. So we can understand, how advanced devotee Krishnadas Kaviraj was, and we should learn the humbleness from that great, so this kind of great souls. So if you see in the Vraj Leela, the Krishnadas Kaviraj was Kasturi Manjari. He was also one of the Manjari. All six Goswami and the Krishnadas Kaviraj, they all were Manjaris. They came from the Golok Vrindavan to help Lord Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to perform his leelas there. So when the Lord comes, all demigods and all the friends of Krishna, they all come to this material world, and actually they help him in the leela of. So now little time left. So what we will do, we will discuss little bit about Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and then we will end. So anybody knows whose son was Raghunath Bhatta Goswami? Who was his father? Tapan Mishra. So actually it is described that Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, he has so beautiful voice that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will all the time like to hear that voice like a cuckoo bird. Also, he was expert cook actually. He will cook fish for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will enjoy it so much, just like a nectar, So Raghunath Bas Goswami was born of a great devotee, Tapan Mishra. And Tapan Mishra was in Bangladesh actually. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ji, as we all know, he is a yoga avatar, and he gave us Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Kevalam, Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatir Anyatha. So he gave us the Harinam Sankirtan, which is the Yug Dharma for this Kali Yuga. So while Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the Bangladesh actually one time, Tapan Mishra met him, and Tapan Mishra was so impressed with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotion and his leelas and everything. So he wanted to actually associate with him. So Tapan Mishra was actually, when he was in Bangladesh, he was a great devotee, but he was actually not finding any religious book, which can show what is the goal of life, why one should be do devotional service, and what is the benefit of doing devotional service to Lord Krishna. So he didn't know the goal of life. So he was completely dissatisfied. So he came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and asked his question. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him that actually the Krishna Prem, to achieve Krishna Prem is the goal of life, and it should be done by performing the devotional service. And so that was the main thing. One time, but Nityananda Prabhu came actually in his dream, and in his dream he told actually that I have incarnated in this world and I'm just waiting for you. So you meet me. And then the dream disappeared actually. Lada disappeared from the dream. So Tapan Mishra actually got up, and then he went to Jagannath Puri and he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there. So, and he can relate that this is the same Lord, who came in my dream actually. And so he offered obeisances, and he asked him, what is the goal of life, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Tapan Mishra actually was worshipping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every day and following his instructions. So one day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told a mysterious instruction to Tapan Mishra. He said, you go and you live in Varanasi. So he said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is here in Puri, and now why he's sending me to Varanasi? But he didn't question because he had full faith in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you go there. But at that time in Varanasi, it was the place for all the impersonalists, actually. Mayavad philosophy is too much there. But still Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told, so he followed his instructions and he went to Varanasi, started living. But by his great luck, there was another great devotee, Chandrasekhar Vaidya. He was living there, and he was great devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually took sannyas and then went to Vrindavan, so while returning back from Vrindavan, he stopped in Varanasi, and he lived there 2 months in the house of Chandrasekhar. And at that time, he actually used to go to Tapan Mishra's house every single day for 2 months, all 3 times, and taking prasad, accepting the prasadam there, offerings there, So at that time, Tapan Mishra had a son, and his name was Raghunath Bhattacharya. So this became later on as Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. So when the small Raghunath Bhattacharya actually, when he will see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he will offer obeisances, he will massage his feet, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will accept that, and he will sing for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, and he will hear single word of what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying all the time. He was hearing very carefully and listening all the instructions. So that way, Raghunath Das Goswami brought up like that, with the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 2 months, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived there. After that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Puri. And when at that time, Raghunath Das Goswami was very young boy. But he actually could not live without Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he was so much attracted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he went to Puri also and met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he said, I want to serve you here. So actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu allowed him to live there for 2 months with him, and he got all mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during those 2 months and all the instructions there. And after that he went again to Varanasi, lived there 5 years, took care of his parents, and he all the time remembered the instructions what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him. And later on he could not live after his parents died, left this world, went to Golok Vrindavan. Then he returned back to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mercifully kept him 2 more months there. And after that, he went to Vrindavan, and he helped Rup and Raghunath Goswami in Vrindavan, and he was cooking for Rup and Sanatan, and also living there and helping as much as possible to Rup and Sanatan. So Rup Sanatan Goswamis were very happy with his service, and so Raghunath Goswami was great Acharya. So he actually lived not 2 months, he actually lived in Puri for 8 months, not 2 months. And he was weeping and crying actually about in separation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he has so intense affection with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy, and he put garland from his neck, not garland, but neck beads actually. His neck beads, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took it out and put it on the neck of. So he got Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, he got Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's neck beads actually. So that was great mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on him. But later on, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, Raghunath Bhatta, I want you to go to Vrindavan and take shelter of Rup and Raghunath and chant there continuously. So he followed those instructions and lived in Vrindavan. And he completely surrendered himself to the Rup Goswami and the Rup Goswami's deity, Radha Govinda. So he was serving Radha Govinda there in Vrindavan, and after the Rup and Sanatan Goswami left this world, he was still serving Radha Govinda. So I will end here, and if we have any discussions, we can discuss now. Any questions, comment, we can talk about it now. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for a beautiful class. Prabhu, we also hear that now, Narottam Das Thakur, he went to Vrindavan and he get the initiation from Lokanath Goswami. So, and I just also saw in our disciplic succession that actually in disciplic succession it is written that Narottam Das Thakur is disciple of Narottam Das Thakur is disciple of Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. So then there are.
Yeah, but he is one of the disciple of Krishna Das Kaviraj also. But like in our parampara, what we follow, the Vishwanath Chakravarti and then Jagannath Babaji, So because Vishwanath Chakravarti wrote so many commentaries on Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and everything, so he's like Sampradaya Acharya. But Loknath Goswami also was one of his disciples, One guru may have many, many disciples like that. So that's possible completely.
So Narottam Das Thakur के शिक्षा गुरु थे
Shiksha Guru of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, but he is the disciple. Narottam Das Thakur is disciple of Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami.
Okay. Okay. Maybe I heard wrong. Like I heard that Lokanath Goswami ke disciple the Narottam Das Thakur. Because when Narottam Das Thakur Mahasaya went to Vrindavan first time, he went to Lokanath Goswami and tried to serve him. Like so.
Anyone knows the answer? I do not know actually that what is truth, but I read it in and I read it in that order, So I will read Prabhu and let you know definitely. Okay.
And one more
Sure.
question, Prabhu. Like, can you just please tell us like the gurus of our Goswamis? Like, today we heard that like the guru of Raghunath Das Goswami is Swarup Damodar Goswami. So, because I actually understand that maybe Goswamis are the disciples of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly. So, can you please tell us like?
No, all the Goswamis, they were following all the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So actually, they are not like initiated disciples. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never initiated anybody. They are the Goswamis. They are the original Goswamis of Vrindavan, and everything started from them actually. Yeah. So at that time, this parampara start from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but then it goes like that, But yeah, like a formal initiation, like what we get now, at that time it was not done that way. Yeah.
Thank you very much, bro.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thanks
Hare
for a great class. Can you please tell in few minutes how you met Prabhupada and some fond memories of Prabhupada?
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. So actually, I went to US in 71, like 51 years ago. And as soon as I went in US in Philadelphia, I started attending the temple, mostly the Sunday programs in Philadelphia. And in 73, I heard that Srila Prabhupada came to New York. And whosoever wants to go and do his darshan, should go. So many devotees from Philadelphia went. So I also went there. And it was April 1st, 73, in the Henry Street Temple, which was the old Brooklyn Temple there. And Srila Prabhupada was there, but he was taking rest when we all went from Philadelphia, 5-6 people. And his servant actually told that Srila Prabhupada will not see anybody because he's taking rest now, and then he has to translate books, so he's busy. So we all requested that we want to actually see him. We came from Philadelphia, but his servant was not allowing us. But Srila Prabhupada was so merciful to all of us that he opened the door and he came and he said, come on in. So 4 or 5 people, we went inside and offered our dandavats, and then we asked a few questions, how to concentrate on chanting, because I was doing chanting at that time, but not with full concentration. And when we chant, so many things were coming in the mind. Now also it comes, it's not like it doesn't come now after so many years. But so Prabhupada says that you just keep chanting, and slowly it will purify your heart, and then you will be able to chant with more concentration. And so it was Prabhupada's mercy, and I asked Srila Prabhupada that I want to take your shelter, and he said, yes, definitely. When I come next time, I will give initiation. So then Prabhupada came in 75, and in the temple, he stayed in old temple, not where the temple is at present. It was a very small house, and there were thousands of devotees came to Philadelphia. They were all sleeping outside in the veranda and in the grass, in the lawn and everywhere, because there was no place for all of them to stay. And so for somehow or the other, I, through the Ravindra Prabhu's blessings, I got little chance to talk to Srila Prabhupada, and I spoke again to him, and Prabhupada unofficially gave me the initiation, because there was no time for yagya ceremony or anything, or initiation ceremony. But he gave me his beads, at that time, and also gave me the name, And he said, next time, then you will sit in the yajna and perform. So that way, that was in 77, then when initiation ceremony was going on, Vaishnava Prabhupada, so I stayed there. So that is the
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Anyone else has any comments or questions? So, nobody has, then we will end here. One shall कृपासिंधु एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।